Welcome back to another Gaming Memories video. Here we are taking a look at a game called Cybernetic Empire, a game that was actually released in Japan only for the PlayStation 1 way back in 1999, and it's a third-person sci-fi action-adventure game. It'd be similar to likes of Tomb Raider and other games like it, but it's based more so in the future. It has the similar kind of aesthetic. So the premise of the story is based around a secret facility that's actually where you're tasked as a soldier to try and infiltrate and try and take back an artifact that's been stolen by a terrorist group, so to stop it from being used for illegal purposes and so forth. So looking back, I never actually really heard about this game again, back in the early days of the PlayStation. Most of the games that I would have recognised or even seen my friends and so forth, you would have only seen them really in magazines or say on the store shelves or whatever. It wasn't really until later days, more so with the likes of the internet, that we actually became more aware of games like these, because we genuinely didn't know that games like this existed. I always knew that there was other types of games in Japan, but never realised the amount of games that were actually being developed in that region. And there is actually some really unique games. Again, there's some average games, like you say, but again, it's the same with throughout the console. Every console and every generation always kind of has a mixed, different array of titles available, both say from really, really good to kind of really, really bad. It all depends. But it all depends on people's preferences, so there is games there pretty much for everyone. You'll always find something that'll pique your interest, or not. It totally depends on the person. But again, I only really kind of found out about this game only recently through searching for different types of games. And I seen photographs of it online. I was like, this actually looks quite interesting. So I says, I'll go and actually see if I can try and get it and actually have a go of it. But again, the prices and stuff on the internet actually are starting to go up with a lot of these type of games, because they are starting to become quite rare now, so they are hard to find. So again, I managed to get a go of it anyway, so at least now I can play it, and it is actually good. The graphics are actually decent, and it is very similar. It reminds me an awful lot of a lot of third-person action-adventure games I played back in the day. Even more so the likes of Tomb Raider style games. I will admit the controls are a little bit on the fiddly side. It can be a little bit awkward to try and figure out what to do and how to interact with certain things, and even some of the jump mechanics and physics can be a bit hard to get used to. But I do remember going back to playing the old Tomb Raider games, and it was the same. It was all about time, and you had to time everything to perfection. If you mistimed a jump, you were gone. There was no room for error, and this year's pretty much the same. But again, I didn't realise until later on after this playthrough here in this video that it has a similar element type likes of, if you've played the Bionic Commando games, where you can have a rope that you can attach to different walls and so forth that allow you to grapple to different segments so that you can actually climb and move across the different areas. But at this point of the game, because it was only at the start of it, I didn't know that I actually had it, so maybe it's something that you probably unlock later on, so I clearly didn't have access to it at this point. So it was just a case of just moving around the environment and just jumping from pillar to pillar or box to box in this case, so everything was all about timing. So it was a bit fiddly. It did take a bit of getting used to, but I was enjoying it all the same. Like I said, I like the style of the graphics. It is based in the future, so it's definitely very sci-fi-esque in terms of how it looks. And for me, it's interesting to just explore a lot of these games, because I always say, the PlayStation without a doubt is my favourite console of all time. It had so many unique games, even games that weren't as good. They always had something about them that really kind of stood in your mind, that always you'd be like, that actually was cool. The game itself may not have been great, but it was definitely features in the game that were really good. and it is really interesting to explore these type of games because I just love that whole era of gaming. I love that style, these type of graphics. The 32-bit era graphics is definitely my favourite style in terms of graphical appeal and so forth. I know games are a lot more refined today, which they are, and it's great to see it, but I just find that these type of games here with this style really kind of speaks to me a lot more, and actually I find that I get more excited by it, and I find that I can relate to it a lot more. I think maybe because of the fact is, with games like this here, when I first started playing the PlayStation, I was new to like 3D graphics, and I'd never really seen stuff like this, so I was completely just blown away by how good everything was and how unique it was for its time. So any game I really pretty much got to play for me was a blessing, like, and I totally respected it. Even if the games weren't considered to be that good, I always found a way to play it and to try and find in some sort of enjoyment. Even the most frustrating of games, I usually found a way to kind of to allow myself to enjoy it. I'd always find a way to get through it for the most part. But I think that was what made me enjoy the console so much, because for every game I played on the PlayStation was an experience in itself. And I find that games like this here still appeal to me just as much today as they've ever done. And I would sooner go back and play these type of games quicker than modern consoles, because they just definitely appeal to me more. But anyway, going back to the game, like here, like you're exploring different environments. You have different types of enemies, like soldiers to kill. You can shoot them, and you have different types of like other types of enemies. You have different types of combat mechanics and so forth. So you have different enemies between soldiers, and then obviously robots and sentry units and the whole lot. It kind of fits in with the whole aesthetic of that futuristic vibe the game's looking to go for. Now it can be a little bit fiddly, because the likes of these robots here I was trying to shoot them, and it's quite tough because they move around so fast, which, yeah, it can be a little bit probably on the unrealistic side, but sure, it is what it is. No game's perfect. But it has a similar kind of style to likes of even Metal Gear Solid as well, in terms of the infrastructure of the environments that you're in as well. They're kind of very futuristic, very industrial as well. So as you can see here, you have to actually time your jumps and so forth to make sure that you get the items that you actually want. It can definitely take quite a few tries. As I say, I had to actually skip a good few parts in this video here, because I messed up a lot of jumps a lot of times, so I had to keep going back and forth to try and do the same jump over and over again until I managed to get it right. But that's just the way these games were back in the day. They definitely weren't straightforward, or let alone easy. They always presented a really heavy challenge, and like I say, there was no room for error. You would always know that straight away if you didn't actually make that jump or kill that enemy, basically. So I eventually got him in the end. It took a while though. Now, from what I played of this now, I have to say now, as far as I could get in it, I was actually enjoying it. But again, it was tough trying to figure out everything, and even at that, because of the fact that this game doesn't have English subtitles or text, it kind of is hard to really know what's going on. This game here would have been a good game to have if it had, say, different languages involved. It'd definitely be more playable. But even as it is, it's still, you know, you can still understand it for the most part to move around. It's just trying to figure out where to go and so forth. That's the only thing. But again, it's like everything else, these games, they just take a bit of practice, but it is what it is. But from what I played of it, it's definitely enjoyable, and if you're into these type of games, futuristic style games, the PlayStation definitely has a lot of these type of games to offer. And it does cater for a lot of different people. If you're into futuristic sci-fi action games, this here might be worth looking into, because from what I did play of it, I actually was enjoying it. And if you can put up with the Fiddly Controls, there's actually a decent enough game here to actually look into. And again, it's something that I never even was aware of, so it's definitely one to really kind of give a try at least and see how you get on, for sure. So, have you experienced this game, Cybernetic Empire? If so, what are your thoughts on the game? Did you play for long? How did you actually find it? Let me know down in the comments below. So if you have found this video to be enjoyable, make sure to leave a like on the video. Also hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be updated to future videos, as I am going to be sharing more videos and hidden gems like these here games when I find them and play through them. And again, make sure to keep playing those classic games and finding new games to play and enjoy them. And make sure to keep those gaming memories alive.